Hello,
We are back. Hello.
hello, world.
Hello, it's
We
us.
have we have returned. Everybody good? Can we be heard? Oh, chat. Yoeth. Hello. Yes. Sorry that took us so long. Jeff got a COVID booster today and is fading fast, so we put him to bed. Um, for those who don't know, Jeff is far away on the left coast. Wait,
It is late there. Right
I
coast.
guess that's the right coast.
The other side.
Anyway, he's far away from us, and it's very late where he is, and therefore he has bailed out, and we had to fiddle with the cameras, and it gave us trouble again to space us. But we're back.
But we're back.
We're good. It's all good. Um, so I'm gonna. When we last left off there, you were getting some information from your contacts, and I switched around um, who was on who's. I'm going to switch around who got what information. I think I said that Fetid got the information about um, Madam Mim and the crazy. Um, I'm going to go with what was suggested in the chat, which is Madam Mim's Ghastly Whims as the name of a shop, because I think it's quite on brand for us here at Track Heroes. And I'm going to switch that around to say that it was Tromlin who got that name from the thieves, and the Fetid is in the process of getting information from the Quaggles about where to buy magic daggers. So he's off there doing that. So that's why why Fetid's not here. He's gone off to go talk to the Quaggles and get information. But in the meantime, Tromlin, you have a pretty solid lead here on where Copernicus might be able to get some books or other information on haunting that he might be able to dig into deeper on what's going on with Barb.
Of course. Gotta get my grandma back.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I will pursue those leads, see what we can do about finding those bookstores.
So you pass this information on to Copernicus and Oogna?
Yeah, like, okay, there's a lady named Mim who might be able to help you.
All right, I'm good to go.
Mim's the word.
Excellent. Okay, so you have information on where this shop is. It's in back towards the south part of town, near where you came from, near the school. And so you can easily go looking around to check this place out. I assume that's the plan.
Yeah, I seem to remember I kind of know the city. Like I know.
Yeah, you've been here before.
Yeah.
It seems like your
So
kind of place.
Hopefully navigate us a bit.
Yeah, you don't specifically remember this shop, but maybe it didn't exist when you were here before. That was quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
But also there's a lot of places like that. So you follow the directions from Tromlin's Thieves Guild contacts and are able to find your way. Now, having had quite a day of various other stops, it's getting on well into the afternoon. You stopped for lunch at some point. The spider baby's all conked out in the pram,
So cute.
snoozing.
There's a montage of us like trying on different dark, creepy cultist robes at different shops.
Yeah.
Trying to find a good spider web hat.
There's like a cut in the montage of like Oogna buying like cotton candy at like a vendor, and you get like two of them, and you've got one, you're eating it, and then you take the other one and like cautiously dip it into the pram, and then there's like
It's gone.
And it's gone, and like one of your fingers is cut, and there's some blood.
It's fine.
Like,
That was the flavoring.
There's got to be some spiderweb cotton candy.
Oh yeah.
Like that's got to be a thing they have.
Nice, made from real spider webs.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a part of the montage, some like skeevy looking, like weird faceless entity sidles up to Tromlin and offers to buy his spider babies, and then there's a next cut is like Oogna is like pounding the guys into the ground like a tent stake.
Auntie Oogna is real protective.
Yeah, it's and while Tromlin is like, damn it, I was gonna try and con the guy. Tromlin was like, oh, how much? I'm gonna get the guy to pay first, then you beat him up.
Then you run away.
Then the babies eat him. Then you
Yes.
get the money
Yeah.
and they're fed.
Yeah. Triple play.
Tromlin, like then the next still in the montage is Tromlin looking thoughtful, and then the one after that he's like tied a string to one of the spider babies, and he's like trying to do the string on the payment where you give the guy the money, but then you like sneakily pull it back. Yeah,
So slug, yeah.
Yeah.
with a spider baby. Yep, it's good. An excellent montage.
There's hijinks happen.
ensues.
Yeah.
There's like a moment of like Copernicus looking sad, looking in the window of a store that's like about decorating your bucket. I don't know. It's a fishing goods store, and there's like some fancy bait pail decorations. Single blood tear.
Aw.
And I am still carrying my bucket around. I do have the
Yep.
bucket.
It's just
Still
empty.
decorating
Yep,
the
for
bucket.
sure.
Just an empty bucket.
I mean, the ashes are still in it. Like you specifically saw to that when you took the lid off and put it back on.
Yeah.
So you make your way to this part of town. It's a particularly dark part of town. There's a lot of high buildings nearby, like the school, and a lot of those floating towers and floating rocks, like we talked about before. And so the little narrow streets and back streets are all quite shaded by these tall buildings and floating boulders. So it's an even darker than usual part of Dwymerdell, with very narrow streets, and it's quite like a little warren, little maze. But you follow the instructions you were given by the thieves, and leads you to a blank brick wall that, like so many in this city, opens sideways when you like tap it correctly, and leads into a strange back alley of shops. And this one is called, let's say, Tap Spin Alley, right? It's not Nocturne Alley.
Good.
It's Tap Spin Alley. That's right. No one can sue us. And once again, there's a trans sticker on the brick wall when you get there.
This whole town just
It
very
says
very trans-friendly.
trans rights are human rights.
No turfs.
Yep. Also, there's there's like a hanging, burning effigy of J.K. Rowling. Anyway.
Jesus God.
Subtle. That's what we're like on
Yep,
Trash Heroes.
correct.
So yeah,
Subtle
this
and
place
tasteful.
is lined with little stalls. It's not so much full-on storefronts as a lot of like a big stone wall that's probably the back of some major building, with lots of little wooden stalls all around. And then some of them are quite elaborate. Some of them are like a stall big enough that it's got a door and you walk inside. But they are clearly sort of ramshackle, built against these walls. And you go looking down the alley, and a bunch of vendors are like, hawking at you, about their, buy, potion ingredients, the best grubs.
Are there any herbalists?
Yeah, there's a few.
Is it called Stall for Time?
Oh, good.
Well, that's well played. I hate puns, but that's well played.
Good.
there is indeed a stall called
For Time.
Stall for Time, and it's run by a lady named Marjoram. Anyway,
Love it.
and
Marjoram Allspice.
down near the far end of the of this alley, where it dead ends, it's a blind alley. At the very end of it is a larger than the others stall that takes up the whole end, like it's across the entire alleyway. So it's a fairly large shack. that has, on the hand painted sign, Madam Mim's ghastly whims.
That's actually a good title. I'm not gonna
It's
lie.
real
That's a really
good.
good title.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't hate that at all.
Nope.
Oh, Kaitu in the chat just said that marjoram allspice is parceling out those herbs.
Good. Very good.
Very good.
Nice.
Good stuff, everybody.
Well, it looks like this here's the place.
I'm gonna go have a little look see.
Okay. There is
I'll-
no door. There is a big open doorway with a hanging beaded curtain.
Ooh, fun. All right.
Very retro.
cool, I'm
It's
groovy.
nice.
Yeah.
And as you reach for the curtain, next to the first of all, when you touch the curtain and start to move it, there's a tingling noise, and you realize that there are little hanging metal bars within the beaded curtain that are like a wind chime. So it makes a little like bliddling
Jingle, jingle.
harp noise as you try to open the door.
Okay.
Secondly, you notice a wooden toucan, like tiki bar style ornament thing next to on the door frame next to the curtain, which immediately becomes animated and opens its beak, and just to bother Alina, it makes like a very clear like Amazon parrot type call, even though it's a toucan.
Yep. Good. Good. I hate it.
And it goes,
It also screams like a red-tailed hawk.
"Rob, customers." Yeah, and then it ends with a red-tailed hawk scream. Scream.
Oogna is suddenly really like abstractly in the recesses of her mind angry and not
For
sure
no
why.
reason.
And then it says,
Yeah.
"I'm a magpie," just for no reason. Carved on the base
name is
underneath, it has
Magpie.
the Latin name of like a chicken, or Gallus Gallus, so something. Anyway,
This is the bird nerds equivalent of those like, oh my god, it's R2D2.
Yes.
I saw him in Dr. Trek.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
memes.
Yeah. You only have to decide what to do with the time that is given you, Harry, said Captain Picard to Luke.
You have to decide to do what to do with the time it's given you. Is Marjorum's catchphrase.
Nice.
That's when you go to buy some herbs. She just does the speech. That is not for us to decide. All we have to do is decide what to do with the time that is given to us. Here you go. Every customer like walks out doing this. The nose pinch. Yeah, so inside this room is a table with a very fancy cloth over it. It looks like it's got like a black tablecloth, but then on top of it is like a velvet and lace topper kind of construction that you would find in only like the most hideous of funeral parlors or grandmother's living rooms. And in the center is a big ornate silver holder for a huge crystal ball. And then all around the room, it's just a nest of velvety pillows, like everywhere, with like incense burners on little tiny end tables, just randomly strewn throughout the room. And then behind the table, opposite the door, is an enormous, soft, squishy armchair. And then sitting on a stack of pillows in the middle of it is a gnome lady with just the frazzled fright wig of gray hair,
Good.
a huge wart on her crooked nose, and just 100% it's Madam Mim from the Sword and Stone, but a gnome. And she's wearing a huge witch hat, like way too big.
Madam
And she
Mim.
says, "I saw that you were coming to see me."
Well, yeah, you don't have a door. It's very visible.
No, I mean, I have the sight.
Oh,
like through the curtain.
Pretty sure you can get some to clear that up.
Yeah.
And perhaps you know what brings me here.
She raises her hands and her big oversized sleeves kind of flop back in a big magical seeming gesture. It's meant to seem magical. And as she does it, the lights dim in the room. but you can tell that she just used mage hand to like snuff out some of the candles.
Solid. I mean, I'm a fan of dramatics. I
Yep.
like them. I like the flair.
You've done a few of them yourself in your years.
You know, technically, with Barb gone, you're kind of single. Just saying.
Temporarily.
My heart is taken. Also, my soul.
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, I will. Perhaps you know then why I have come and what I am in search of. Let's see what she says.
He says, "You seek those on the other side."
I do.
That's not your movie.
You're like that could have been like foresight, but that could just have been. She says that everyone. It's like
this is where the ghost books are.
thing here.
Every time an old lonely person crying blood walks in.
And she says, "Cross my palm with silver, and I shall help you."
Yeah, all right. I'll pay the lady. Want to see what she's got?
Okay. As soon as you put the silver coin in her palm, there's a clang like a steel trap
Huh.
from behind you, and you kind of like whirl around, or one of you maybe whirls around, and instead of the cheesy tiki room kind of wall with the beaded curtain that you just came through, there is now a stone wall behind you. With a huge oaken door that is closed and barred. It's not like you're locked in because the bar is on your side, but like barred to keep people out, one presumes.
Yeah.
And when you when you complete the spin back around, the room has changed dramatically. The same exact table and crystal ball are there, but the ball is now glowing eerie green inside, like there's a swirling green lighted mist in it. She's still sitting, it's still her in the same outfit, sitting in the same chair. But the rest of the room is now just plunged in shadow, and you can just make out the vague dark forms, and only because for those of you who have dark vision, the vague dark forms of metal sconces and chains and things on the walls. It feels like you're suddenly in a dungeon, like a dungeon with a Soothseeker's little setup in the middle of it, but a dungeon nonetheless.
Okay.
Oh, that's some good magic.
That is some good magic. This is good stuff.
And she's already, you notice she's already kind of sitting up very rigid, and her eyes are rolled right back, so it's just the whites.
Good.
As she reaches out and she's waving her hands, seemingly to somewhat control the mists in the crystal ball. And she says, in a completely different voice, in like what seems like one of those like multiple men's voices harmonizing kind of voice. She says, "Ask your questions." Copernicus, you're like, this is very, very like your ritual.
You've done this.
And I can now reveal that a fun event was chosen by the chat. And they went just barely at the last second. They went for a spooky seance as the option.
Good.
And that is what we are now going to have. It just barely beat out a wacky tea party.
I want to know how that would have gone too.
I mean, every tea party we're at is a wacky tea party, but
yeah, we can add it to the montage and post.
yes, yeah.
I will ask, where is my wife?
I need to know more about your wife. The more information you give me, the more directly I can make contact. Ooh.
I think Perni is gonna start with talking about like how like beautiful and funny and brave, and before he realizes like maybe this isn't helpful, um, and then he'll start to she also had a bit of magic to her. Some say that magic came from deities ancient and powerful, and I think that it just came entirely from within the light that shone within her. But it seems that some form of that magic or some source of it has swallowed her up or taken her connection with me, and I need to find that connection again.
What can you tell me that gives a connection to this woman's place in the spirit world?
I'll say her whole name.
Will you? Go ahead.
Ooh.
All right.
Does Peter remember it, or do you need
Yeah.
me to? It's
No,
actually
I
on your
got it.
character sheet.
Yeah. Barbara Hotep II Akhet Ra.
Which I think might be the first time that Tromlin and Oogna ever heard it, the full
Yup.
I
name.
think it is.
Ooh.
It means nothing to me, but it probably means something to our cleric.
Yeah, and he has a big book of names as well.
Yeah, yeah.
I will start looking through that book.
Just like thumb the paper and like flip through.
And you will not find that name in that book because it is far, far, far too far back. But
It's the root of your family tree.
indeed. But as soon as you say that name, her hands stop and her whole body goes even more rigid, and the shadows recede a bit as the light in the ball glows more, and the voice becomes even more otherworldly as it says, "Have you tokens of this being?"
Be careful with them. They're all I have left. And I will put the bucket out and take the lid off too so that it can be seen that there's ash.
Okay. As soon as you take the lid off the bucket, the crystal ball explodes. So
Oh, good.
the ball just like explodes. The bucket basically rips out of your hand and takes the place where the crystal ball was, and the mass of green swirling energy like rises like a column out of the. It's like the giant column of green light death in Ghostbusters goes shooting through the roof. The roof of whatever place this is you're in like blows off, like the column smashes through the ceiling.
We're super subtle. It's good.
And you're all just sort of engulfed in a hurricane of noise of like swirling spirits, basically like a whirlwind of, again, imagine the climax of the Ghostbusters films. As this swirling around, the gnome lady lifts off of her chair, which like flies back into the dark and vanishes, and she's her back just arched, her arms straight out to the sides, and her head lolled back. The hat falls off. Her hair is floating, and she's like spinning in the air in place as she responds to this. As you like, you went from like not enough information to like too much.
You have the
You said the true
remains.
name. You said the true name.
Yeah, it's like it's the true name. And here, by the way, here's her remains in this like special vessel that was just
Like a ghost
created to
focusing
contain her
lens?
soul. Her soul. Yeah. And the woman like spins around and then crashes back down to the ground in a seating position on one of the other seats around the table. And she sitting forward, like grabbing at the table and like leaning forward intensely. She says, "And what time do you call this?" Right at Copernicus. It sounds like Barb, or at least like the ghostly Barb that haunts your dreams.
Okay.
In the
Like,
lead up
not
to
like,
this,
not like Barb back when she's alive.
Oogna's been like grabbing at Tromlin's arm, and it's just like, it's getting pretty spookly in here, Trom. This is some good spooks. I don't like it.
I gently hold her
Yeah.
hold her hand.
Good.
As you do that, like a green ghostly form like passes right through Oogna's body from the back,
Good.
like just comes out of your chest and
Good.
passes through you as part of the whirlwind.
And I will actually scream when she sits down and talks. Like,
I'd like both Tromlin and Oogna to make me saving throws, wisdom
good.
saves.
to not be.
Yeah, this is
No.
against a fear effect. Yeah, you
No.
are you have the frightened condition.
I rolled a 6, and I have a 0.
Yeah, that
Oh
would be a fail.
no, that's. Let me roll mine real fast. 1d20 plus 5.
So like all my hair stands on end.
Oh, that's nice. That would be a 23. I almost got a 20.
Did I hear that wrong? I thought it sounded like you rolled. You said you were re-rolling. Was that a re-roll or was that? Am I
No,
just
it was-
misunderstanding?
That's my actual roll. I rolled a 23. I got an 18 plus 5, 23.
So you said something to Alina first, and it confused me. I thought you were
Oh,
saying you
I'm
were
so
re-rolling.
sorry. Yeah.
I only need to know just so that we actually mark the inspirations properly. So yeah, you're holding it together. Yeah, Oogna's like face is like pale, and it's like greenish, so it's like that really gross pale green.
My hair's all standing on end. I
Yeah.
shriek.
Or more than
Alright.
usual standing on end.
I will calmly hug Oogna and let
Aw.
her like put her face in the crook of my neck so she doesn't have to see any of this.
I've gone full Shaggy from Scooby-Doo. I'm like in your lap, even though I am twice your size.
Just shaking.
Yes.
Teeth chattering.
Correct.
All right, I'll roll damage for trauma. No, I'm kidding.
Tromlin, this is a new sensation. Not sure how I feel about this. Not disliking it, but you know.
Slightly crushed.
Yep.
I mean, there's a whole market for that.
It's true.
And how is Copernicus responding to this?
Um, I'm sorry, my love. I don't know what happened. I don't know how the connection was severed. I've been trying to find my way back to you. Where are you? How do I get you back?
I am where I always am, and it's that again, it's like the voice they use, like the trick they use for Galadriel in Fellowship of the Ring, where
Yeah.
it's like multiple voices over top of each other. So yeah, it's that like
terrible
rolling
queen
noise.
of immense
Yeah.
power.
That's just how she speaks. But it's like the voice is coming from all the ghosts at once in the room. And she howls at you. I am where I always have been. I need power. You are hiding from me. Admit it, you were with that floozy again.
Oh no. That's well and truly dead. Don't worry about that.
What are you doing behind my back? The howling pitch goes up a few notches in volume.
Tromlin's tempted to because he still sees her as grandmother, right?
Yep.
I will clear with Grandma. We have been keeping tabs on him. I promise we will not let him be with any floozy.
Interesting.
Also-
She whirls her gaze onto Tromlin when he
New grandkids?
addresses her at Grandma.
Did you see the shirt? Did you see the shirt?
So when her gaze falls on you, Tromlin, your mind is like shredded with some of the screaming, as she doesn't really use any words, but like sort of just the act of noticing you and a bunch of ghosts are passing through your face.
I
So
roll out of the
I
way
was
and I'm
gonna-
hiding behind you.
That's fine.
We're
Yeah, I'm
hiding
just
behind
gonna
the spider babies.
Yes.
dole out a bit of.
Peeking through the
Yeah.
cage of the crib.
Yeah.
That's 6. Oh, no, sorry, wait. Math. Hard. 13 psychic damage to
Ooh.
Oogna and Tromlin.
Ooh.
Okay.
Good.
From this this terrible, terrible spooky room
I've had a long rest.
full of ghosts. Copernicus, make me an Arcana check.
And do.
based on what Barb is saying to you here.
That's a 17.
That's good enough. You're between what were reading last night and what's happening here in this seance. You're starting to think that Barb, like the Barb that is like a ghost here, wasn't actually really in the bucket, but was more like, Barb, like all of the dead in like whatever afterlife that this particular D&D world has. I refuse to just jump into the standard D&D cosmology there. We'll leave it nice and vague. But was like haunting through the anchor of the bucket. So it may be that Barb hasn't been like taken away, but like the anchoring, the connection has been maybe not severed, but weakened.
Okay.
And it may have something to do with like the connection to that other realm.
Okay.
And Barb continues to fishwife at you, like just does like some, some nagging, like, what about and the state of the state of this room, and she gestures at the bucket, like, you haven't clean, like, she wouldn't say you haven't cleaned up, but it's that, like, it's like she's yelling at you for not doing the vacuuming, but she's saying something about like the blood sacrifices, or you haven't put any eyes or brains in the bucket for too long.
Yeah.
It's
Plus,
just blood,
I
like,
think,
anyway, she's nagging at you.
and I think Perni himself has, like, at least for the last like 48 hours, clearly not been taking care of himself.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's a bit of a temple in decay himself.
Yeah, and she might like comment on that, and it's like, look at you.
But the shirt.
I think, grandmother, what he's trying to say is, I have children now.
So do you have the spider babies in this place with you, or did you leave them outside? You probably would have brought the.
I don't want to leave my kids alone. I'm not that
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah.
It's not easy to bring the pram through the door, but you probably would have like taken them out maybe, and
I probably
Slung
try
them
to
on
get
your
them
back.
to nap. I probably
Yeah.
try to get them to nap a little bit beforehand.
Yeah, so you've got them like in your sack with you, we'll say, in the Bjorn sack thing that was made for you by Lady Weft. So you can like, poke one of their heads out and go see. When you do that, the howling, it's actually almost like more jarring, because the howling stops dead. The whirlwind hurricane of noise just ceases. And the eyes of this gnome woman go super wide, and she does like a little an otherworldly horrendous squee,
Oh.
like it is the horror ghost noises make like an would you kind of noise,
But it's
but
still
it's
terrifying.
still horrible and otherworldly. And then something breaks, like there's like a snap, and the gnome woman like collapses, like a puppet with cut strings, and the lights come back up, and you're back in the weird little tiki hut with the cushions everywhere.
I feel I should have probably warned you about the intensity of the connection that I was seeking.
The gnome lady's like unconscious on the ground.
Is the scary lady gone?
Currently.
The
Troutman,
source
could
of
you help me
No,
with
sorry, go ahead.
I'm gonna try and like pick Lady Mim up so that Troutman can tend to her and maybe help her
Yeah.
get some HP back.
Yep, you can bring her around. As she regains consciousness, she'll like clutch at your arm and like gasp. and say, what happened?
If you've forgotten, it was probably for the best.
I've never made contact so violently.
Well, my wife is a very very strong personality, and I probably should have warned you a little bit. But it sounds like she needs more power for her connection, which normally is very strong with these remains here. So I need some advice on how to juice it up. Do you have a portable charger or something I can plug it into? I hear they can do it wirelessly these days.
A lightning cable.
How much are you going to explain to her? How much information are you going to give her about specifics? So she doesn't remember anything about the conversation you just had.
Okay.
That's clear. It's clear that she was doing the whole seance vessel thing where she wasn't the mind that was in having that conversation, so she doesn't remember any of it.
So I think I'm not going to say it very much. I think what I will do is mention that my wife is very old and she was very powerful with magic in her time, and I think that the problem is that her connection with her remains in this urn has been weakened by a magical event, and we need to strengthen it again. How might I start doing that?
What is the nature of the remain? Well, first of all, she absolutely she wants you to start with. She's like, get out of my hut! Wow, what you've done here! And it becomes clear very quickly that she's just angry about the broken crystal ball.
Okay.
That's fair.
That's fair. I'll pay
But-
for that.
Yeah, but as soon as you have the funds with your wealthy trait to more than pay for the crystal ball, so you basically offer her to pay for the ball and pay her twice her going rate, and that calms her right down. And she'll come around and say and come back to come back around to what you're saying. She says, what is the nature of the remains?
So I probably shouldn't open the bucket again.
Bones, a skull,
Ashes.
and all of the ashes are there.
As many of them as I could scoop.
You're
think-
certain?
That I got as many as I could, but it's possible I missed some.
Well, if some of the remains are missing, that would be very likely to result in a weakening of the haunt.
Did
God.
Did I leave some Barb in the desert?
Well, it occurs to you that you opened the bucket and pointed it into the otherworldly portal that you were being drawn towards, and a massive gout of energy blasted out of the bucket and into the portal. You certainly didn't see what was going on with the dust in that scenario. Only that when the bucket fell to the ground, there was some ashes on the ground that you scooped back in.
Well, I know that the zone we were in, that area, was hot from that event still. Like, I know the energy's still roiling there. I don't know if there's a way to go back and try and trace the connection or figure out how to reopen it. But Perni, despite having just sent back his airship and being a wanted man in those lands, Perni's thinking it might be time to go back to the Badlands, which would be a good time then to do some rune steel or black steel research.
Yeah.
As if we could make it a double purpose expedition. I think you've been very helpful. I will let you know if I have any further questions, but I can't thank you enough. I think we've got a good lead.
She will give you some other, like, once you kind of make it clear that, like, because at first she's like tries to give you some advice on how to consecrate the bucket so that the hauntings can be reduced further. And
No,
you're like,
the
no,
opposite.
no,
Oh, no,
it's the
no,
other way
More
around.
hauntings.
In which case she gives you a few tips on what you could theoretically try to do if the if there are less remains, or if there are, some of the remains are missing, that would be number one. Try
You gotta-
and get those
You gotta
remains.
overclock the remains that you
Um,
have.
Yeah, I was
But
gonna
if you
say,
have,
this very much
if
feels
you
like
ha-
computer maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
if you have or can find any other physical things that have physical links to the person who behind this haunting, you could add those to the bucket. Like if you could find something that belonged to the person and stick it in the bucket along with the ashes, that would be the kind of thing that would strengthen the connection.
So, my wife is from the deserts of Ix in the Far East, and if there's one thing I know about history, it's that if I want to find artifacts from the ancient desert of Ix in the Far East, I need to know where this world's British Museum is located.
Yes, correct. Good.
Oh, I mean, you're not
You're not wrong.
Well, that's something that you could definitely now. I mean, you've already been looking into some history books.
Yeah.
Who
alright.
knows? You certainly have, you know, some ash remnants here, some dust that is supposedly, you know, some bits. We never did say exactly what's in the jar. The Shadow DM reminds me that this is effectively, your bucket is effectively a canopic jar. So there's a significant question as to whether it's just dust in there, or there was like a mummified heart, or some other kind of preserved viscera.
Yeah.
I may have to go back and re-listen to an old episode to remind myself what I told Jeff when Fetid looked in the jar,
Oh, right.
and what he saw other than madness. I don't remember if I told him anything.
it was like a pyramid or something, as I recall.
Well, he that's because he went like into the past, basically, because he went crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But in any case, we can sort of sort some of that out for next time, maybe. Yeah, so she gives you some thoughts. You certainly know that you could do some research on like whether there are any, you know, known artifacts that might be out there somewhere that connect.
Okay.
And figure
I
out which great empire went and stole all the artifacts from Ix.
Yeah, so I'll start doing a bit of that research, but I think like I feel good about the lead about like going back to the portal and seeing if I can trace where it if something did come out of the bucket, where it would have gone through to, and then we can turn that into a further black
Rune
steel
sword,
forging
yeah.
expedition as well. So I might do my next bit of research on the sword and
On the so just to remind you, the sword was broken with a piece missing. You've already analyzed Oogna's sword and realized that there's a chunk missing of the broken sword. And then
Yeah.
in the vision, you were clearly able to see the sword in its entirety,
Yeah.
which means, and then when you woke up, you immediately scribbled down in your book
the rune that was on there.
what was not just a rune, but like the whole section that was missing.
Right.
You sketched it, basically, all of the filigree that's on it and symbols. So you have that information to research in addition to what you have previously on rune magic.
Because I remember
the
the
two
runes
things
we
that-
had before. I have them written down. They were greatness,
Yeah, you have a bunch
sun,
of like the literal translations.
yeah, prison, eternity, might, gods, magic, uniqueness, and keyhole, which is an interesting array of words.
Yeah, that's not ominous at all.
No.
Prison and keyhole and gods.
Yeah, and gods.
We're gonna go.
Eternal
this-
prison.
Yeah.
It's good.
So I think we're about to go shake up some cosmology, but
Right. Well, before we leave the shop, though, Oogna
Sorry?
is sort of like, before we leave the shop and Madame Mim, Oogna is lingering around and sort of like looking around the shop and recovering from the fright, and she'll sidle over, still looking pretty shaken, to Madame Mim and be like, so, your job is that you talk to dead people, right? You can talk to
Yes.
anybody who's dead?
It depends on what has become of their spirit.
Huh. I don't know if this person is dead or not, but I've been looking for somebody for a really long time. I don't know if you could help.
I would need to She looks around at like the sort of broken and damaged area and like the shattered crystal ball. I would need to prepare.
Okay. What else would you need?
I need a new crystal ball. He gestures at the fragments.
Well, I'm probably to
Um,
rest a little bit. You look like you kind of shaken up.
You look like shit.
Yes. Maybe
She
I
does what you
come
kind of
back
did when you came in.
tomorrow.
Yes, that would be acceptable.
Okay. Is there anything I need to bring? I don't have a bucket or anything.
I'm trying to decide what you guys want to do for timing. We could do that. Yeah, we'll do that. We'll say that she wants to get another. She's not sure if she can get another crystal ball that quickly, and then Copernicus is like, "Well, no time like the present," and you guys go like, you can side quest for a place that you can get another crystal that size, so she doesn't have to,
Tromlin gets like a sends
still
word
wait.
out with the thieves.
Yeah, exactly. And you find
Can I get it
the
engraved?
school. You
with the
basically
word
find it. Probably the school
Perni?
has them.
Oh, I definitely want to steal one from the school's
Oh, hell yeah.
chemistry room.
We run into
Yeah, I'm
Snorp's
definitely-
lab, and we're just like, we gotta
Yeah.
borrow this. Bye.
You're going to Snorp. Snorp's still a statue. They just propped him up at
Yes.
his desk.
Nice. The proctor's exams now.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna get it engraved with like sorry.
This one's better.
Copernicus sunshine.
We'll bring her
Yep,
some
so you
dinner
can-
from the school too.
So you can definitely.
They were serving spaghetti and
bring
meatballs
that
tonight, and it's a big bowl of just like worms and eyeballs.
Saying nothing, saying
Yeah.
nothing.
It's good.
It's like the opposite of the Halloween game. Where
Yes.
you're
Yeah,
like,
do you-
oh, these are brains and eyeballs, and it's just like spaghetti, but you're blindfolded, so you're like, it's like, oh, good thing this
Yes.
is spaghetti, and it's actually brains and eyeballs.
Yeah. It's good.
Love it.
love
It's
the
great
spaghetti.
flavor. It's very cheesy.
Nice. Do you want to do that right away? Do you want to
Sure.
say skip to the next day and say you bring your ill-gotten
yeah.
crystal
We'll come back
ball
the
and
next
you
morning.
go and come back? Sure. And you once again you come down into Tap Spin Alley, and go past the stall for time.
Good.
Yep.
Holding up.
I'm not going to forget. And you come back to the end and once again to her crazy shack. This time, instead of a crazy tiki room, from the outside, the shack looks the same. But when you brush aside the beaded curtain instead this time, inside it's all like lying cushions, kind of like a weird, like one of those British run overly Asian decorated opium den type things. There's like a bunch of like gaudy paper lanterns and everything's in like red and gold. Lots of like carved stuff everywhere. Instead of the weird toucan thing, there's like a little wooden monkey by the door when you come in that's head opens up and it screams. Still does the same red tail hawk parrot combo scream.
Good.
And it still says I am a magpie on the bottom.
It's even funnier if it's a monkey. It's
Yeah.
like it's not even a bird anymore. What the hell?
And she's there again in the same
Yeah.
table. You bring her the new crystal ball.
I brought you some lunch.
Grandly. I had waited for you. Gestures grandly to where you put the crystal ball. You bring the
Like
eyeballs
a little
and
takeout,
worms.
little takeout bin for her.
It just you brought it in a bowl, but as you bring it into this like gaudy Chinese decoration room, it just transforms into a takeout carton.
It says
Good.
chicken chow mein on the side.
To fit the bad decor. Okay, what so she says, what is it that she just takes the takeout thing and puts it aside because she's not hungry right now. She'll get terrified by it later when she opens it. It's full of worms.
My mom
What
disappeared.
is it that you seek?
My mom disappeared like a lot of years ago, and we don't know if she's dead or alive or not. But if she's dead, maybe you could talk to her.
What do you have to link me to the loved one?
I got some blood.
What exactly are you doing?
I'm gonna like cut my finger a little bit on my knife and squeeze it out onto the table or onto the crystal ball.
It might be if you have something else sharp that you could use
Yeah.
to cut your finger.
I pulled
that
a
is
sword
linked to your
fragment
mom.
out.
Could
Sword
help.
fragment. This might help.
Should we show that off? I don't know. I thought we weren't supposed to show anybody.
Look, if you're trying to hold your mom, this is the best way.
I guess, yeah. And I'll then like smear a little blood on the sword and put it on the table. That's just one fragment.
Once again, as you set this like powerful magic item on the table,
We keep
right, it's gonna
blowing this
connect
poor
with
woman's mind.
anyone
the
connected to
crystal ball explodes again, and there's a swirling green whirlwind of spirits.
We're real hard on crystal balls.
Yeah, and she rears back and flies up off of the chair again.
This poor woman.
And this time, the green energy coalesces around her. So instead of just being a whirlwind, like a big tumble dryer going round and around the room and through you and past you and around you, all of the green spirits coalesce around her and shape are you okay, Randy?
Yeah, sneezing.
Because we're tight.
And then the form of a huge dragon takes shape around her body of these spirits.
I was not expecting that.
And the dragon says, no, little seer, I will not have you peering into these affairs. And it takes its hands and reaches into itself to where she is at the center of this body of ghost energy, like it's reaching to grab her.
Can I dive in the way? Like knock her out of the way?
Yeah, I thought you guys might want to do something. So what do you want to do? Let's roll initiative. Let's full on do initiative on this.
Yeah, that's an initiative roll.
Oh, hell yes.
Well, I rolled a 1.
I rolled a 17 plus 2, so 19.
This is a very slow giant dragon spirit summon seance thing.
Good.
It has a 1. I don't know what initiative bonus it has, but it ain't going to be enough to
This poor woman's going to retire after this.
change that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So what you got, 17 and...
19, sorry.
Copernicus has got you even slower.
1? Well.
1 and no modifier.
Well.
Bromlin?
9.
9. So first up is going to be Oogna.
Well.
Obviously. You're ahead of everyone else by like 10.
Yep. I jump in front of her, like, because the dragon's reaching down towards its own belly to tear at her.
It's like Kung Fu Panda 2 or 3 or whatever it is, where he's inside the golden dragon. She's like floating in the air as she's having this like eyes rolled back moment, and the ghost spirit energy has coalesced around her into a dragon.
Right. Yeah.
And the dragon is like reaching for her, and she's like inside.
But she's inside it. So I'm leaping up into the dragon, and I'm going to pull my part of the sword, which is the handle and haft.
The other piece.
The other piece.
You didn't put on the
Trellman
table.
had the tip.
Yeah.
And I will brandish it at the dragon and be like, "Leave her alone."
Like, are you trying to just threaten her, or are you trying to physically like knock her out?
I'm trying to knock her out of the dragon and threaten the dragon.
That's an attack roll. So go ahead and make a roll.
Guess what I'm good at? 11 plus 8 be 19.
Okay. I have rolled the nat 1, and now I've rolled a nat 20. So you launch yourself up there, and the dragon changes its tactic and grabs you instead.
Good. Perfect.
So you are now clutched in the hands of this huge dragon. It can hold you in like one fist.
Yep.
And it says, it looks like it's about to just like eat you or stick you in its face or blow fire on you or something. But its mouth goes from open at you to closed as it kind of squints and goes, "You." And who's up next? Tromlin.
Well, I see my
That was the
best.
dragon's reaction, effectively, so he can't
Yep.
go yet.
I see my best friend in danger.
Mm-hmm.
It obviously can be physical, somewhat.
It's literally holding
Yeah.
Oogna off the ground.
The thing is, like, this is so upsetting to Tromlin. I am debating on spending my hero point.
Ooh.
Ooh,
Ooh.
I'll take it.
To spend so I can cast a spell higher.
What do you want to do?
Let me see. I'm double checking that this is a spell I even actually have access to.
I mean, it's a hero
That's
point.
the
You
thing.
can have a weird
I
spell,
can
probably.
play around with it. With a hero point, there's a lot of stuff you can do. Tell you what, I got an idea for you.
I was
I will let you.
I was thinking of banishing smite.
That's a paladin thing, but banishment is a cleric spell. It's just a spell 2 levels higher than you can cast. But if
But
you
a
spend
hero
a hero
point-
point at this point, I will make this work. I have an idea.
All right. I call upon the power of Loth and hold out her symbol and basically. And what languages do I speak? Because I would probably not speak common for this.
You speak Sylvan.
Sylvan, yeah. In Sylvan, I will call upon the web of Loth to cast away this intruder, and
You
basically
are
try to save my friend.
you are inspired in doing this, thanks to your hero point, to grab not only your holy symbol that you're brandishing, but also your prayer beads.
Okay.
And you feel the bead, the central bead, the one that can summon a planar ally, course power through you, and you cast a banishment spell at a level higher than a normal banishment spell. So you cast it as a 5th level spell in this case. And that is a failed saving throw on its end. So as you do this, all the dragon thing gets out is this moment of recognition, and it goes, "You!" Like it's holding you right in front of its face.
Yeah, and
when it does that.
I'm brandishing the
Oogna.
sword at it, my piece of the sword.
Yeah, which it appears to recognize along with you.
Good.
And it says "you," and then Tromlin, holy symbol glowing through his fist with like eerie purple light. There's like his face seems to change, and like more eyes blink open than he normally has to make it like 8. And like it's like the iron spider suit for Spider-Man. The extra legs come over his back, as like the other fist clutching his prayer beads glow deeply with this bluish purple radiance, and he calls out in Sylvan, which none of the rest of you speak, so you just hear these words, and then the entire green energy dragon turns to like this purplish drow energy and then just dissipates. And Oogna, you drop to the ground and you kind of reach out and catch the unconscious gnome lady as she falls out of the air as well.
Are we still in initiative order?
If you want, but there's nobody here.
Yeah.
Perni's turn. He yells, "Look out! A dragon!"
No, you put on your little sailor hat from your fishing gear, and you go all Mickey Rourke and do the a dragon. I swear I saw a dragon. That is a
is
Pete's
a-
Dragon reference, a movie from the
Ooh.
1970s. Thanks, everybody.
That's a deep dive there, sir.
I'm
I vaguely remember that.
I'm old.
I saw it in theaters, so
Same.
I
Classic
run up to
animation.
Oogna.
One of the better Disney musicals,
Yeah,
frankly.
it's real good.
Yeah, it's a good film.
I want to see if the cover is what I'm thinking of.
And I run up to Oogna and hug onto her.
I'll hold you real tight, and then I'll double check to see if you still have like 50 eyes.
Nope. When
No,
you look,
good,
when you
good.
double check, he's normal again.
Good.
How do my babies react to Daddy transforming?
In typical fashion, they slept through it.
Ah, perfect.
Good.
In typical child, you're like, oh God, the kids, and they were asleep.
That's exactly what I want to hear. I'm fine with it.
Oh, are you okay, Trauma? You got kind of spidery there for a second.
Yeah, I had to do something.
I was great. I'm glad you did. I don't know what.
Yeah, well,
Why was there a dragon?
Well, apparently, it's associated with that sword and whatever happened to your mom. And we know what happened to your mom wasn't the Dragon Isles.
Something like that, yeah.
So
And she wasn't
at
able to
this
send
point-
word back ever.
At this point, Fetid pops his head in the door, and says, "Well, isn't the guy who made that sword named wasn't that named Caligon the Black? He's a dragon."
He's
Oh,
And that's where we're gonna end
dragon?
it.
perfect.
Cool.
The one thing that I would have needed Jeff to say, but
I was gonna try and describe what kind of dragon it was to Fetid to see if he could like give us more information, either from the nature side or the being draconic side. So
That's good.
this is perfect.
and with that, I'll also give that to you, Perni. At the time, you were a little addled on drugs, and and you made you'll recall I got you to make a history roll that you failed because you had disadvantage and curses and so forth. And Caligon the Black is the great dragon that is supposedly the ruler of the Black Dragon City.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Of Nel Marzesh.
Oh, that's good.
The Zarashians, the ones that are slavers.
Love to hear it.
And of course, Fetid's heard of the Dragon Lords of Nel Marzesh. He's a fan.
Well, I gotta go fight that dragon guy.
So anyway, that's I think we're gonna wrap early. Sorry for the suddenness of and deciding to end early there to the chat, but since Jeff isn't here, this is a really good place to leave it, and we're all pretty exhausted. So I think ending early tonight is probably a smart move.
Yep.
I'm actually now glad I spent that hero point so we could avoid the combat and we could all just rest.
No.
Yeah.
And that was super epic.
out
That's
perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what's he gonna
and
do?
nice-
His best friend is being lifted by a dragon. Fuck no.
A dragon
Not
ghost.
just a dragon, the god of one of the dragon cities. Like,
Cool.
Yeah.
Good. Love it. That seems
There's
good.
something related to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I'm going to just give you another tidbit right now. Copernicus, as you're remembering this and you're like, right, that's where I've heard the name Encalagon before. Because, of course, you had the vision. You just failed your history check at the time. But also, it suddenly dawns on you, Encalagon, what have you done, is what he said.
Yep.
So the human is a dragon is doing the transformation thing, I'm assuming?
Or more likely, that was an oath.
Oh.
Like one would say, Jesus, what are you doing?
Oh.
I don't mean you personally, Jesus. I mean...
By Encalagon's name, what have you done?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So that
Meaning
guy wasn't
somebody that
Encalagon.
is either Zareshian or, like, very familiar with their ways.
Right, okay.
Well.
Okay?
Because we just saw a big dude.
Yep. It was just a
Making
big
this sword.
human. Now, if that was Encalagon the Black in, like, a human form, that's even a bigger deal.
That's scary.
Yeah, that's what my first theory was, but that other one makes a lot of sense too.
Well,
And
we
but if we
have
start
his sword.
researching Zarashians who lived in this area or who did stuff in this area, different points in history, we could find some leads.
Good, good.
So, as exciting as it is to do research montages in gameplay, I'll do some of that research stuff off camera between the last game and this, and I'll do more like the info dump part of it next game. We'll start off with this role play with Fetid though.
Cool. Cool.
Okay, when Jeff is back. So thank you, my audience. Sorry we're ending a little early, but if you haven't noticed, I'm pretty damn burnt, and I'm probably like only 50% as burnt as Randy and Peter, and Jeff was so burned out by his booster that he had to leave. So we'll pick this up next time.
Lane, you want to roll me a d12?
I do. I also would like to take the opportunity to shout out to my shadow DM, Dan, as always.
Hey, Dan.
Yay, Dan.
Thank you very much for your help. I've rolled a 2.
And
On the
that
D12,
is J Payne.
Oh, it's my
J
friend Jim.
Payne.
Cool.
Jim's a good guy.
Good.
He
J
may
Payne,
not- I don't know if
you're
he's
up
in here,
for
but-
yeah, you're up for a sketch.
Awesome.
I'm pretty sure if J Payne isn't on the subscriber list, that I think I've seen J Payne on the Discord.
Yeah, I know he's in the Discord. Oh, and that reminds me, I sent a second drawing to the Twitter account for y'all.
Oh, cool.
So that's 2 drawings for tonight.
You
I
want
did
to? Do
actually-
you want to share the drawings on the stream here, Alina?
Can
or are
I
they-
do that? Give me a second.
Not for public consumption.
They're
Oh,
fine.
okay.
I mean, they're just sketches. I didn't draw anything filthy.
Great. I like that one a lot. Actually,
That's very good.
For such a throwaway character. That's awesome.
Throwaway characters are the ones
Love
that
it.
are most fun to draw sometimes.
Yeah, they're also the ones. Isn't that the trope that like the players are supposed to just latch onto a throwaway character as like we will
Goblin
die for this
Goblin.
person? Yeah, and
Goblin
everyone's
Goblin.
and you're like, God damn.
Have a
was,
second here while I pull
That
those
was
up.
Crick and Creek, right?
Oh,
I
yes.
Yeah.
had to pull names out of my ass, but
I love them.
you know we'll see Crick and Creek again. Okay. So yeah, next game is currently scheduled for the 14th of October. We'll double check with our players and make sure that that day is good to go, and we'll be posting about it on Twitter and the Discord and all the places where one does.
Okay, here is the first of the fan arts.
Yay, fan arts. I love it. It's the glowing gnome from the sewers.
The gloam.
Nice.
I do have to say that as much as I've loved many of the locations I've thrown together for this campaign,
I love this place.
Dwymerdell is one of my favorites.
This is
Yeah,
good.
It's a good playground.
We're all gonna resettle here.
Just a town full of Addams Family tropes.
And then a mama spider.
Yay, Lady Weft.
I
It's
love
an
that drawing, Randy.
excellent-
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially like it fits very well with the form that Lady Weft would have taken in the North. Like when you specifically was like a messenger of the Summer King or whatever his full title is.
Also, I love the fact that the Myconids, the mushroom people, watched us fuck.
Yeah.
Little
Because they're like whatever, like completely like nonplussed, right? Like they're just sitting there going like, we're they don't even necessarily recognize what you were doing as like copulation or procreation because it's
There's
so
no spores
alien to how
involved.
mushrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like nobody released any spores. There's nothing going on here. This is
Oh, I
totally.
release spores. I release spores.
They would not recognize that as spores.
I'm currently
They're
taking.
like that's spores are
carrying around-
specifically dry.
I'm carrying around the result of those spores.
Excellent. Good times. Anybody have anything you guys want to shout out before we sign off?
It's Canada's National Day of Truth and Reconciliation. If you're a settler,
Yep.
you should probably transfer some wealth to some Indigenous-led causes, artists, businesses. It is a small, tiny drop in the bucket of making proper reparations, but it's something. And honestly, it is kind of cool to see that there is a certain growing critical mass in Canada that takes the day seriously and treats this like an
Yes.
actual thing.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I'd like to see that keep fucking going. So yeah. And if you're outside of Canada, maybe study a little bit about the history here because it's really shitty and surprisingly little known outside of the borders of this country, and
Mhm.
yeah.
We had to explain to
Yep.
somebody the other day that the RCMP were founded to suppress Native people and move them off their land.
Yep.
Yep.
Because they're like, oh, I just thought they were like this quaint Canadian thing, and it's like, yeah, not
No.
super great actually.
No, but they
No.
ride on horses. Yes,
Yeah.
because that was in a time when that was the only way to get around in the native
Mhm,
land.
mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
and like literally within the last year, Canada has deployed its forces to remove people who are
Yep.
protesting logging of like old growth indigenous areas,
Yep.
protests, pipeline protests. So still, the tradition is alive to this day.
Yeah.
They haven't
Anybody
stopped.
anyone want to share a link in the chat for an orange shirt day or anything like that? I don't remember what the official group's
Mhm.
website is. Is it orangeshirtday.org or is that
I
one
believe
some
that's one of them. Yeah.
rip-off group? I think that's the official one. And then anything else anyone wants to shout out?
My comic is somethingpositive.net. I draw Popeye on Comics Kingdom, and on Thursdays I do a strip called Olive and Popeye. The Tuesday strips are focused on Olive, drawn by Shadi Amin, and I draw the Thursday strips that are focused on Popeye. And I'm very sleepy. I'm sorry.
Oh.
That is okay. And then I will, of course, mention that you can feel free to join up with the Discord. There is a link. Someone might want to throw that in the chat. There's a direct link that you can sign up for the Discord. We have some fun memeing and chatter about the game in between games. And of course, as I said before, you can support all of our players and the channel itself on Patreon through the various links. You can see them all in the About page below. And with that, I bid you farewell
Well,
until
everybody.
the next steamy trash time.
Excellent. See y'all.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.